Welcome to Macau for the 2024 Macau Grand Prix, the 71st edition on four wheels, the 56th edition whether you're on motorcycle. This is the Formula Regional World Cup, the FR World Cup, the qualifying number one. Alongside me in the commentary box, Omi will be leading the session. The car's just heading out to the circuit. We're having an issue getting into Discord, which is really annoying. But right now, the track conditions are interesting, to say the least. We've had wet, we've had dry, so we're all waiting to see what's going to happen. Discord literally won't open, so we are sort of stuck for a while. So, Omi, I know you're watching. We're stuck, basically, until the situation resumes itself as well. So, hello, everybody. Green flags out here, the session just underway, the first few sectors getting set up as now our timing screens decide just to load in ever so slowly here for the Macau Grand Prix. Goethe looking strong as well, so he's improving in the top delta times as they all come through as well. Ollie Goethe's rumoured to win this one pretty much 9 times out of 10. So it's going to be an interesting situation to see how much he's going to have across this weekend as well. We'll have the timer, 36 minutes remain. It's a 40-minute qualifying session, and hopefully shortly Discord is going to open so that we can have a word with Omi. Goethe with a 26 first sector. Alexander Alvazav as well is in 11th position. Literally, just Discord's just spinning. I've been sat here for about 10 minutes trying to get it started. And it just won't work. So we have that issue at the moment. David Addison alongside in the commentary box. The audio from the track, you can hear them more than us. So we'll figure out what's going on there and get that sorted for tomorrow. I think they've mucked up the audio. Don't forget, they do it very differently over there. It's a Chinese production. Red flag's out. Red flag's out. So who's hit the wall in this session? It's come up with red flag at 50. There we go. Into the wall goes the 27 of Louis Ricci. So into the wall, and the red flags come out to stop the session. So while we get this, we'll hand over to the world feed. And hopefully that is a second to get everything else sorted up in the box.
It's going to be purple crane that's going to be brought into action. That's a pretty big piece of kit as well.
Understeers out wide, loses the back, and kaboom.
Doesn't take much there, does it? And it's pretty wet there as well.
Yeah.
Pretty damp on that run through Lisboa.
But again, the line he was on was going to be wetter because it's not where you want to be. So no one's tried that. Yeah. So once he was wrong, it was always going to end badly, I think. So big shame for Lou Ricci, who in the free practice session earlier on was 20th out of the 27. We have 27, although only 26 did a time. Kai Darianani not being able to do a lap this morning. So the crane...
I mean, I hate to go on about this, but look at the reach on that crane. It's really impressive.
It is. What we need first, though, is permission for the marshal to go trackside to attach Part A to Part B. So, awaiting instruction.
Already the flatbed recovery vehicle is in place, so once the car is lifted and swung over the barrier, it can be on its way back to the paddock and we can get things quickly back underway.
And because this is qualifying, the clock, as you can see, stops. So they're not losing any track time out of this. And also, of course, the road is drying. The longer the session lasts, the drier the road will be. Even if it's only the ambient temperature helping to evaporate some of the water, it's all helping.
I have to wiggle the car just to get the nose out because they do get pointed straight into that tyre barrier down there.
So a few more hands on deck, I think, but we're almost good. And then it's up and away. So it doesn't take long from the last car arriving in the pit lane to get things back underway. Again, interesting to see now whether any team says, OK, we'll go for slicks now.
Do you think they will?
Well, no, because I don't think it's dry enough. No. But now would be the opportune situation in which to do it under a red flag, because you're not then losing live track time, if you see what I mean. If this were 20 minutes later, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they might be counting on the fact there might be another stop of the session?
Yes.
I think there might be.
So more and more drivers heading into the pit lane, and do the marshals want some help to make some barrier repairs there, possibly? Because
are they tyres down there strapped together down at this bar?
I thought so.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But if that belting is punctured, they might want that.
They need to maybe work on that. Yeah.
So an early stoppage, and nobody yet has done a lap time.
Just having a look what was happening before. Alex Dunn had put in a purple sector on that last lap, hadn't he? On sector 4. Alex Dunn, who was very impressive last year, his first appearance at the Macau Grand Prix in different cars. This is the first year we've had the FR cars competing. We've had F4 cars for a few years here competing for the Macau Grand Prix, and we've had Formula 3 cars, FIA Formula 3 cars, and FR cars this year, which is very much in the spirit. We were saying it this morning, weren't we? The spirit of the Macau Grand Prix for many, many years, to have champions from various championships around the world all coming here to compete, almost like who is the king of the king.
Exactly. Yeah, like a shootout at the end of the season. And Alex Dunn, as you say, a talented young driver. He was the runner-up last year in GB3, British F4 champion 2 years ago. Tough season this year in FIA Formula 3, 14th in the championship. And there you look at the wet tyre that adorns number 16, James Wharton's car, complete with its new engine. James did a couple of races in GB3 this year, Australian karting champion, UAE Formula 4 champion, and was second in the FR Europe Championship this year with 4 wins. So he's one of the favourites, I would think, for this weekend.
Session is going to resume at 15:36, and I'd like to say that our commentator for the FR Championship is joined us now, because I'm going to be on GTs and motorcycles. Omi's going to join me on the GT, and then for the motorcycles, we've got Lizzie Whitmore and Julia Trusovic. But Omi, I'm your co for these ones, and thank God we've got you back. Hello, mate.
Yes, absolutely. Well, great to be here. Great for Macau to get underway on what seems like so far a wet weekend. We've already seen multiple cars go into the barrier cross practice and now into qualifying as well. And it is just going to be one of those delayed sessions by the looks of things, with a track drying. So the improvements are going to be critical as we look at Kanato Lee as well, the driver who's participating in to get on, but no time on the board for the drivers in this field. So you qualifying sessions, both doing the exact same thing. They'll get another 40 minutes tomorrow, and of course then both timings get combined, and then we form a grid. So if today they can't get a lap time, then tomorrow they'll get another chance. But you want to have a solid lap time today in case you find the wall tomorrow.
110% as well, and they've gone green now, but you get 27 out there on the circuit right now as well, so that's going to be the full run. Now, last year when we covered it, timings were being absolutely pain in the backside. This year, they're actually being okay, which is great news as well. For some reason, it's put Sato at the top of the timesheets, but no times have actually been set yet, so it's all gone on sectors, but Goethe's gone back out. And I agree with what we were saying beforehand, that Ollie Goethe's got the best chance to possibly win this one. Cars head back out onto the circuit. Is that working?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. So that's all going on with the timings. The session gets back underway then for qualifying 1. And you're going to have qualifying 1 taking place today, then qualifying 2 tomorrow, and then followed by the qualification race, which is a chance for the drivers to improve their starting position. But it is that race where they take less risks, just due to the fact that they have the main race tomorrow. So if they find the wall, on the Saturday, then it does mean that they will start at the back for the proper Macau Grand Prix that will take place on Sunday as usual. So an exciting weekend of racing. And then as Josh mentioned also, you've got the GT World Cup and the motorcycles all enjoying their fun around this place, along with lots of other categories. It's always an amazing weekend, but no longer F3 cars, meaning that we've got the goal that the FIA wanted. It has happened for them, getting champions from across the Formula Regional Series. If you have more than 3 rounds competed in FIA Formula 2, you may not participate. That is why Ollie Goethe is here. He's done 2 rounds of Formula 2, so he won't be back here anytime soon until maybe they change it back to Formula 3. But it does mean that getting more of the rising stars compared to some of the drivers that are already in Formula 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's a good idea because I'll miss the Formula 3 cars and it being an unofficial round of the championship and everything, but they were a bit too big, and the last couple of years it was hard to overtake, and we were having a lot of red flags. Slimming them back down again to Formula Regional cars, it makes a little bit of sense. It's going to put them all back together. The spirit of racing, I think, that's what they've sort of referred it to. The fact that now we're going to have a bit of equal machinery. It's all about the drivers, and it's where you can have legends made. And you mentioned the motorcycles. They never got to go out today. They've had all their sessions redone tomorrow morning due to the weather conditions, because it's super difficult in order to get them safely around in dry conditions. So in wet conditions, it's completely unacceptable. So all their practice sessions are happening tomorrow, and we've recorded all the sessions that we've missed over the night, i.e. the practice sessions for GT and FR, and they're going to be uploaded later on in the day as well. But onto the backstretch and the start lines, and we'll finally get our first sessions lap times underway.
That is absolutely going to be the hope as well. Ollie Goethe, the Red Bull Junior driver, making his way through now and putting his foot down to the floor as he hopes to complete this lap without any other interruptions. And this long straight that leads you all the way down to Lisboa, always providing all of the action, always the critical part of the race. If someone can take the lead, that is probably your only opportunity. That's probably your only opportunity. And the safety car restart here, that is the main critical thing. The slipstream is given all the way down to this Lisboa corner, and it can also catch lots of drivers out. Alex Dunn, who was also competing this year, found the wall last year on the opening lap. Such a disappointment after a brilliant weekend. Bogdanovic also found himself into the wall at Lisboa. So lots of moves can come wrong at the turn 3 corner if drivers can be too late on the brakes. It gets tight, but that's also the best overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, and it's weird how this circuit sort of navigates itself. It's kind of like where we have racing in Po, and we all love that one as well. It would probably come back on the calendars. But Macau's sort of like one of the last challenges that we can have in racing. It's been here as now over 70 years. It's our 71st edition here. 70th time it was 70 years ago we raced. So it's always weird how that one works out. We're sort of celebrating 70 years of it, and it's the 71st race because you count the first one there. But it's such a wonderful circuit, and Schumacher, Senna, Hakkinen, they've all raced here. They've all won here. As we're all throwing in the wall there as well. But it's absolutely just, it's literally tighter than Monaco. It's the tightest street circuit I've ever seen in my life. It's so narrow, and one mistake, you're going to be in that wall. But you just got to go as fast as possible.
It's got to go as fast as possible. That's exactly what Ollie Goethe was attempting to do. But with a drying circuit, it is pretty hard for the drivers in this field, as all of them continue to make their way through. Ollie Goethe joined in MP Motorsport this weekend by Valerio Renicella and also Matteo Colnaghi. So those are his 2 teammates for the Dutch team this weekend. And Ollie Goethe then about to complete this lap. Purple through the 4th sector. 5 sectors here in Macau due to just how big it is. And now Goethe brings it all the way right to the end of the lap. And car into the barrier. That is going to be Jet Bowling, who's found the wall. Ollie Goethe over the line, so he'll get a time on the board as Jet Bowling has found the barrier.
232.482 as the red flag comes out again, so session suspended once more. And that's going to Tuka Tappinen, who is the Finnish driver, never Did he get a lap time? Yes, he did. 2:02.684. So basically, we've had 3 drivers set a lap time over me, and again another red flag. Valerio Risaleka has gone into 3rd with a 2:32.234. So now we've got the red flags out again. It'll be a lengthy repair because the barrier is damaged.
Yeah, will be a lengthy repair indeed. And then hopefully we can get back going, as Tuka Tappinen on those full wets was pushing as well as he tries to win this weekend. And there has been a lot of debate, of course. You have some drivers who have driven around this circuit a few times. Then you have some drivers who have a lot of experience with the Formula Regional machinery as well. Tuka Tappinen is one of them, as we also just see Freddie Slater make his way through in the 31 Prima. Freddie Slater coming from Italian F4, of course. He'll be joining and he'll be racing in these cars next year in the Formula Regional European Championship. I hope as we take a look at a replay of Bowling, who found the wall.
Yeah, just lost the rear on entry as well, and the barrier's just super tight there as well. So knocked the rear in first, and then it's ricocheted back and knocked the front off. So big redo for him ahead of qualifying 2. The only good thing is that we do have a qualifying race that sets your final grid position for the Macau Grand Prix on Sunday. So he might be able to race his way back up the order, but for Q1, it's pretty much him done.
Yep, and of course he'll get another chance tomorrow as well, which I think today's session, with how wet it is, I don't think anyone's really going to get a chance. I think tomorrow everyone's just going to improve their times, and tomorrow will be the proper qualifying session. So this is just basically just competitive practice, getting used to the circuit, as we take a look once again of the rear of the car, making contact first of all for Jet Bowling as he went straight into the barrier, and the marshals will need to get on the repair job as everyone makes their way back to the pit lane. But disappointment for the American driver as well, as we see Valerio Rinicella make his way through, and he's making his debut, as are many around this circuit. So every single lap that these drivers can get, especially in this session now, as it's kind of going to be treated like a competitive practice session, with it basically guaranteed to go faster tomorrow unless it rains more, then this is going to probably be just get used to the circuit even more, and then tomorrow will be the real push with 40 minutes of qualifying. But the same thing then applies. Could you find the wall? Could there be more delays? Which is Macau, so there obviously will be. So it's that balance that the teams and drivers have to find here.
Yeah, this is effectively another free practice session. We've had free practice 1 earlier, then we're going straight into qualifying 2. Tomorrow you get free practice 2, then go into qualifying number 2. Then on Saturday you'll have the qualifying race. Sunday you'll have the Macau Grand Prix. That's how it's all going to work out. But I think the problem we had there was for Jet Bowling, he lost the rear, but he missed the barriers as well. He hit pure carbon fibre on the Alcos, so that's going to be a bigger suspension, gearbox damage as well for the amount of whack it got, and no doubt he'll feel it as well because you're going quite quick through that part of the section because it's downhill, so sort of threading the eye of the needle to scrape it through, and yeah, wet tires not helping as well as they come into it. Do you want a break? Should we check in with World Feed?
Yes, okay, well, let's check in then with the World Feeders. We're under the red flag here in Macau.
I think just to make sure that there's nothing that might get sucked into the side pods when it's at speed. Because the street circuit will have all sorts of bits and bobs lying around that you don't want to get drawn into anywhere that could do any mechanical damage.
So for Niall's car that was just being checked over.
And those that got through onto a flying lap, like Valerio Rinicella, come down the pit lane now. Rinicella, protege of Giancarlo Fisichella, and Marco Ciocci, Ferrari racers both. Rinicella, 20th in the European FR Series this year. And the car dragged back into its garage.
Previously 3rd in the Spanish F4 Championship. And it used to be said about Formula 3, probably 20 years ago, that it was a 2-year assault, that you had to sort of find your feet in the first year and then maybe have an attack for the title in the second year. F4 seems to be that way as well, doesn't it, these days? And drivers that stay in F4 for maybe 1 year and then move on to something like these FR championships that appear around the world, then maybe it's the 2-year assault on these titles.
But if you can do it in 1 year, it illustrates your ability, doesn't it?
Oh yes,
and
very much so.
From the next rung up, it's like the holy grail to find somebody that can jump through the ranks. And occasionally they happen. Think Kimi Räikkönen, Formula Renault to Formula 1.
Which was an astonishing step at the time, wasn't it? UK Formula Renault.
That's right. And people said, oh, he shouldn't be doing that. And then he became a world champion, which rather proved that he did have the ability.
And that year, he was also doing national service.
That's right. Yeah.
So there was a weekend, was there not, at Donington, where I chatted to him in the pit lane. I think you were there as well. And he said, yeah, this morning I was just doing a bit of square bashing or whatever it was they were doing in the morning, and catch a flight and then get in the Formula Renault car, put it on pole and set yourself up for the weekend.
I had it in my mind that he started 1 year of Britain and then had to bail for the national service and came back the year after, and that's when he mocked up.
Is that what happened?
I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he rather proved the point of how good he is. There you can see Evan Gilter, French driver for ART Grand Prix. And like many, yet to do a lap time. Number 6 is Tuukka Taponen, the R-Ace GP entry. And Taponen, who has come effectively into FR this season after a good pedigree in F4 and the Formula Academy Finland prior to that. He's part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. Number 18 is Kanato Lee, Japanese driver under a British licence, and somebody that we've seen racing in British F4 in the last few seasons. Another of the Red Bull drivers, Enzo Deligny, born in Shanghai. Father used to be a one-make VW racer, and Macau debut for Deligny. Jin Nakamura, one of the 2 quick Tom's Japanese representatives. And everybody's still happy to be on the wet tyre. So as the road dries a touch, and certainly is getting clearer of debris, there, Uga Chukwu, the very tall American McLaren development driver, McLaren Junior, 11th in FR in Europe this year.
3rd in British F4 the previous year. And you're right to say, a tall driver. Don't know how he quite fits in the tub of this car, because he's incredibly tall.
Yeah. And there is the only palindromic driver on the grid, Noel Leon, who was here last year and is pretty rapid. So still no restart time being confirmed as Sota Ogawa gets ready to go. So the car of the American driver, Jet Bowling, being retrieved. Murray Boyer. Now, wheels off. Now, is that for a setup adjustment? I think it is, because the wets are by the side of the car. They've not got slicks by the side of the car. So I think that's for an adjustment more than anything to do with tyres. And in fact, there, spots of rain back on the camera.
I was going to say, the security man that's standing in front of us with a poncho and takes his hood on and off has just put the hood back up.
Oh.
So that is our barometer. Yep, hood's going up and umbrellas being very tightly hung on to. So it's blowy, it's wet, it's
Macau.
It's well, no, that's unfair. I've never known it like this.
No.
I have never ever known it like this. But there is a windy season for sure here at Macau, but it's not normally the time of year that coincides with the Grand Prix. You just see the trees over there. It's really very blustery.
Dino Vaganovic having a little adjustment, but that car good to go, as also is Thiago Rodriguez there, another of the Evans GP entries, Mitch Evans' team, Formula E star. And Thiago Rodriguez, who was the Chinese F4 champion last year. So he was here 12 months ago in the first weekend in the Formula 4 event that we had, as was this man, Freddie Slater, who was impressive then and continues to impress.
16 years of age is Freddie. Quite incredible what these young drivers do. What's the quickest car you'd like to drive around the gear circuit here at Macau?
What's the what, sorry?
What's the quickest car you'd like to drive around the circuit? Yeah.
I'll be very happy in a little road sport.
So would I, yeah. Very happy. And they're 16 years old and competing in a powerful single-seater around the streets of Macau. That's incredibly impressive. Alex Dunn was incredibly impressive last year, 18 years old. He is the qualified 6th last year, 2nd in the qualification race, and then crashed out of the final, unfortunately.
You talk about 16-year-olds and racing at Macau and being impressive. It's the only time they can legally drive on the road.
It's a very good point.
Or a road, yeah.
It's a very good point, well made, yeah.
Rashid Daheri for the PHM racing team. Teammate Matteo De Paolo behind him. There is Alexander Abkhazova for Santaloc, which is normally thought of as a GT team. Sebastian Chatai's team, but has expanded through French F4 and then Spanish F4 into FR racing. There for Pro Racing, number 26, that is Matteo De Paolo. And still, I'm afraid, no news as to a resumption time. But the road is getting much wetter. There's not much argument now. It's proper raining.
You're right.
Right, so there is the car free of the wall. Took a little bit of dislodging, I think, that. And now that it's gone, just the last few bits and pieces can be swept up or kicked out of the way. And then we'll be in business. And
just to make sure that the, all the track furniture is in place. Now they've got that car extricated. I think they seem to be reasonably happy that they have done. So that's good news as the track workers make their way back to post. Just that little bit of debris which will be taken care of, no doubt. But this is good news.
Yeah.
So we've only had 10 minutes of this session.
It feels like longer.
Yes, it does.
Yes. And we are into the last minute of stoppage time, so we're going to get back underway at 15:55 local, and it's just now 45 seconds away from that, so we're almost good to go again. So what we've been saying about the importance of qualifying and the need to get a banker lap because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, they didn't listen to us. That's 2 red flags.
No, I know. And at the start of this session, it was quicker than it's going to be, I think, for the rest of the session. The rain coming down now. It's getting wetter again. It was at its driest right at the start. So, well, let's see what's going to happen. Let's have a look at the weather forecast as well for tomorrow, but not until the morning.
Green light, Tommy, you're back underway.
Absolutely. So the green light is going to go back on the circuit, and we're going to get this session back underway. But yes, we've had 10 minutes, but it's felt much more longer. We've gone through Discord issues, we've gone through everything so far as well. It definitely has felt longer. Gertha's staying in the pit lane, of course. Ollie Gertha's got a time on the board as well, so he can do so. The rest of the field all rushing out because you just don't know what the rain's going to do. It could be getting even worse, so you need to get a time out there on the board. And who knows, if it rains tomorrow and absolutely buckets it down, then this could be the grid. And then if we get a very let's say unpredictable grid as well that we didn't predict, you've got Gertha of course at the front, but if we do end up seeing a bit of an unpredictable grid in this session, then it will lead us with 2 amazing races where in the qualifying race drivers trying to make some crazy overtakes, and then in the race as well, them having to continue, because with how this circuit is, you don't have enough time to continue making overtakes, especially with how many safety cars there will be in the qualifying race.
Yeah, it's going to be madness, isn't it, really? And that's the problem with Macau. It does look like it's got heavier as well, the rain, doesn't it? We've been under a red flag, well, 2 red flags, only done 10 minutes. But it gets worse because we've actually been on air for half an hour. So we've effectively done the session, and we still haven't got anywhere. So that's delaying everything else on the timing screen. And it might have another red flag because we've got the 55 sideways. Is that on an escape? Yeah, it's an escape road down the hill.
Yep, the son of former Formula 1 driver, Takuma Sato, has gone off the road as well. And he currently finds himself trying to get back going. Let's hope we don't get another red flag.
Lisboa. So, oh, we're going to have another one, aren't we? Here we go then, another red flag coming.
Yeah, looks like we're going to be in for another red flag as the MP cars make their way through. And so does Enzo Deligny as well, the driver affiliated with Red Bull. And he will be looking to go on the attack as the rain continues to fall. But let's hope they can go on the attack, as we have seen Sato, of course, go into the runoff, the driver who found himself battling in F4 with his TGM Grand Prix teammates who are participating with him this weekend. So they all know each other very, very well indeed. As we take a look on board with the Prema as he tries to make some progress, but we're heading into single file stuff, meaning that they are stuck behind. Remember the 2019 battle between Vershaw and Vips? There was a bit of an error by Vershaw around this part of the circuit, but it was single file. Vips could not get around him.
Yeah, and it's a really awkward... it's literally just like a 90-degree pin, isn't it? You want to try and navigate your way around. It's sort of like a reverse Monaco down at Mirabone. It's very, very tight, and then it opens up a little bit more. The widest part definitely on this start-finish line down in towards Lisboa, but still, we've stayed green, which is great news, and now we might actually get some times on, but I think Goethe might already have this from the 2:32.482 we saw earlier on in the session. As we see, we're in Sella now over to the first sector time, third at the moment. Is he improving? He's sort of our guidance at the moment because everyone else is still in the pit lane. And it's 3 seconds down, Omi. So, yeah, it already looks like the track's 3 seconds a lap slower.
Yeah, absolutely. Still getting a lap on the board, though, for these drivers will be critical so they can jump themselves at least quite a few places up against each other. There are lots of drivers doing battle right now to get a lap time on the board. So Valerio Renicella making his way through then. The driver that finished 20th in the championship in Freca earlier this year. Still yet to announce his plans for next year. But right now, full focus goes to Macau, 4.9 seconds down by the time that he leaves the second sector, goes into sector 3. So it seems like the circuit is not doing too well. Now we focus on his teammate, Matteo Colnaghi.
Oh, he just touched
the wall.
Broken rear suspension already. He just got caught in the he just got caught in a puddle. I just drifted into the wall and tried to save it with a squirt of power, and it just ended up hitting the wall with broken suspension. That won't cause a red flag, though.
It luckily won't as well. And, well, nearly everyone we watch is having so many moments. You saw Ollie Goethe driving away at the wheel near the start of the session. There is a lot going on behind the scenes as well, with all the drivers trying to have corrections. As you take a look at Ugo Chukwu, the driver that was participating last time out with Trident. He also had a crash in the qualification race near the start of it. As we take a look at some replays then. And this is going to be... Ooh. And off the road, we see for Kai Dariani.
Yeah, Dariani, that's down at Lisboa. Just went straight on and exactly the same as Sato, just too much speed. And then you got to try and loop it back around. This was the... no, this is back live. This is back live. So, yeah, look, I was worried about it getting down here at the hairpin.
Yeah.
Does get through. Yeah, it's just it's an annoyance, Omi, because they're losing time and they can't afford to stop the sessions again because we're running low on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we cannot afford to stop the session again, so we're just hoping that everyone does behave themselves. And you can see in the background the MP Motorsport car there of Cole Nagy not being able to fully function his way around properly.
Looks like Schumacher and Hakkinen back in the 90s as well. Or late 80s, early 90s. 89, I think it was. Over into the pit lane finally. This final corner, super wet. Surprised I haven't seen anyone slam it into the barrier. 2 control lines, of course. Over the line. This is Wharton. Goes up into 9th position. 5 places up. Bogdanovic up to 4th place. Alexander Dune, yeah, got up into 4th as well. So the names we see in F3 and into F2 doing well with this machinery, but it's a wall of spray we're looking at now down across the start line.
Yep, we are absolutely looking at that at this stage. Slater goes ahead of them. Rashid Al-Daheri also moves up to 4th place. So some incredible times now coming on the board as we take a look at Matteo Di Paolo momentarily. As Matteo Di Paolo came over the line, he managed to get up to 6. He's ahead of Dun. So right now it's Gertha Tappanen, Ridicella, Al-Daheri and Freddie Slater. And do we have the red flags out once again? I believe we do so. So what's happened now?
It says 88 running slowly or stopped. That's Kai Diriani's you were talking about.
Yeah.
Don't know where.
Seems like he must have had a moment somewhere, or something must have happened on the circuit to bring this interruption out. So we'll just wait and see right now what's going on.
Very late call for the red flags trackside there. Very late call. We got it on our timing screens before the track did. And the timing tower on that we looked at went red, and they've only now just put the flags out on the circuit. That's very, very late.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we do find ourselves looking at a circuit that continues to get wetter and wetter. So we'll wait for any indication for this
Where is it?
red flag. Yeah, that's
there
the
he is. Is that
there we go.
Darius Bower?
So that's Dariani off, and then we'll try and work out now where he's gone off.
So the 88 British driver, straight off the circuit. Is that down at the where Sophia Flörsch had that accident?
It definitely could be, as they try recover that car very quickly. As the driver that's confirmed that he's racing in the F4 Middle East Championship next year as well.
I'll tell you something else
and he's doing that with Evans GP.
He's going to get a fine. He's left the car. You're not allowed to leave the car. You've got to stay in the car in order to help the marshals remove it if it's able. And you've got to wait for FIA clearance to get out of the car. You race directed discretion. He's got out of it. So that's going to be a penalty for him, possibly a grid penalty for the main race on Sunday.
Indeed. Kai Dariani raced around this place last year. He did it the week prior to the World Cup, of course, in the F4 race that we ran a week before. So many drivers here did participate in that. Now, of course, they get their chance to participate in the proper World Cup in the Formula Regional, unlike last year with lots of F3 and F2 drivers taking those seats. But we're back on the red flag, so we'll head back over then to the World Cup. You'll be back with us when we get any news about heading green.
Oh.
Red flags.
Right, so we're up to three.
Yeah. It is, and the only reason I've done that is because sometimes it's difficult to remember when you get these constant interruptions. You don't really get into any kind of flow of the session, and you look back and you think, how many stoppages have we had?
And who caused the first one?
So I have no idea.
Right.
I can't remember. Can you?
Yes. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Lu Rei Chi is the answer.
Oh, well done. Yeah. You're right.
Thank you. So,
it says here.
The session's suspended again. Some of the cars, when they get to the pit lane, are being taken to the scrutineering area. Others released to the teams. So there is Valerio Rinicella, still third fastest. Comes down the pit road. And what have we got left? 23 minutes, effectively, in a very, very bitty session.
Yeah, very difficult. No flow. What you want to do is to get a few laps in, so you can do it in whatever conditions, just so you can get into some kind of a groove and get into some kind of a flow. But they're not able to do that, and it's very difficult.
I know the weather has got quite a lot to say about that, but the one session that we've gone through without any interruption at all has been the one for the real AMS, the earlier road sport session. And there is another road sport session to come, which has been cleverly put at the end of the day because they've got headlights.
It has, and we are losing light, aren't we? It's getting darker and darker. And it's been pretty dark and gloomy all day, but darkness descends, nighttime darkness descends over this area of the world quite quickly. And by 6 o'clock, it's pretty much ready to go, which is great news for all the hotels and casinos, because Macau at nighttime lights up like nowhere else in the world.
I'm still surprised that 1 year they can't persuade Macau as an entity that what you need is just one day where we'll open the roads a bit later, because a night race around here with all the casinos lit up would look pretty awesome.
Wouldn't it just?
I mean, yes.
Wouldn't it just?
The Macau Grand Prix puts Macau on the map globally.
Yeah.
Fine. And what you see is fascinating, and it gives you a taste of Macau.
Yeah.
But what we see at night is a different place altogether when it's all lit up.
It really is. I get a huge amount of joy taking people around for the first time at night time. I did it with you. I've done it with Chris, who is the circuit commentator. I've done it with Stephen, one of our journalists, here for the first time this weekend. I get a great deal of joy taking them to a couple of the sort of highlight hotels, which happened for me umpteen years ago. And you take them there and you just see the wonderment. Yes, this is a hotel lobby, correct. Yes, there is a huge tree.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
No, an Alan Hyde guided tour is quite something, especially when you end up in the courtroom the morning after. So, quite something. So everybody back into the pit lane, and we are about 10 seconds away, because it was an easy move once the marshals were allowed trackside. So the green flag is going to be waved now.
Well, green flag. Back out there. On the circuit is the car back into the fast lane and back on the attack. 22 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock as the Ferrari Academy member Dino Beganovic gets ready to lead his Premas out onto the racetrack. Well, let's try this again, Josh. Rain's still falling. Let's try get some more lap times on the board.
I think they need to shorten this qualifying session at this rate, because we've been going for 40 minutes. It was a 40-minute session. We should be over by now. Still got 20 minutes to go. It's a bit ridiculous. So we're going to have more red flags as well, and the track's getting wetter and wetter. Can't wait to see what the GT is going to be like tomorrow. Look at that. They're aquaplaning down the straight as well. That's fellow Risaletsky as well, who, as we said earlier on, was the protege of Giancarlo Fisichella. Just, aquaplaning down the straight as well. So, look, aquaplaning out the corners. It's such a small circuit, and the elevation change so dramatic. You do get just random standing water puddles everywhere, and as soon as you hit them, you're just going to skate off the circuit.
Yeah, I do hope we do get some onboards across the weekend as well. That's always the best part of it. I remember last year in qualifying, the onboards with Gabriele Mini attacking around the circuit, and then years before as well. Always fantastic to see these cars full out on attack.
Oh, no.
And we've got another car off the road, and we'll try work out who it is this time around once we get a better shot. Another car off, and are we going to be heading back to red flag territory now is the question.
Can't see who that is. It's Matteo Collinani as well. And number is it? 33.
Yeah. The 33 would be Tiago Rodriguez, who has gone off the road as well. And, well, let's hope he's able to continue. Now we watch Enzo Deligny as he makes his way through in the Red Bull liveried car. 2 Red Bull Juniors across this event. Oli Goethe and, of course, Enzo Deligny as well. And Goethe going back over to Formula 2 in about 2 weeks' time. Same can be said as well for Beganovic.
Red flagged it. They've red flagged it again. Car 3 in runoff at turn 3. So Matteo Collinani is off the circuit as well. I thought... it's both. Yeah, it's both of them off. I thought there was 2. I thought there was 2 cars off at the same time. Oh, for God's sake, red flag out again. We can't get this going. I reckon it's going to end up getting called off, you know. We are losing the light.
Yeah. I thought momentarily you were laughing at me saying Oli Goethe's racing in Formula 2 in 2 weeks' time.
No, I'm on about the red flagged it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't looking at the timings at that stage, as we didn't get to fully see it on the world feed. But Tiago Rodriguez off as well with 20 minutes on the clock to go. Now, of course, I did say in DMs earlier that you might need to take the last few minutes of this session. I think that might be required with the rate this one is going at it. So, yeah. Later on, I think Josh will need to go solo for the ending, and then I'll be back tomorrow. But I'm still here for now. Let's hope we get this back going as soon as possible.
What time do you need to go again?
I think it's 25 past.
Oh, great. At this rate.
Good luck.
Come on, that didn't need to be a red flag. That could have been a yellow.
So it's not going to take too long to get that.
They keep delaying it. It's
Yeah.
just getting worse and worse and worse.
I think for this session, the best thing would have been is right now, once you just constantly see red flags, let the time just continue running.
Yeah.
Like they do sometimes for Formula 3 and Formula 2, because they have no choice because of F1 later on as well. And, well, it's not the end of the day, because of course we get a session tomorrow as well, which probably will have the exact same, but they get another chance as well for tomorrow's session. Basically, these two sessions are the exact same thing. The only thing is probably tomorrow is going to be better, and tomorrow we're actually going to be able to see proper running. And this one they usually take calmly, and they are already causing a lot of red flags because of the rain. But usually qualifying 2 is all attack, because that's the one they need to push. This session they're meant to get a banker lap in, and no one's able to do that if there's constant red flags. So, well, we'll head back over then to the World Feed, and hope we return very, very quickly with green flag.
Still only 17 years of age. Hugo. So the umbrellas, the rain continues to come down. Actually, heavier rain than we've seen for a long time.
And I think even when the session does go live, you might find fewer takers. Only because, as we are increasingly seeing, risk versus reward now is getting to the point that you know, pretty much everybody, I think, has done a time that is able to do.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to improve over what you've done because it's wetter.
No. Yep.
There is kind of no point now.
Yeah. Would just be a large risk, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The only benefit is mileage.
Yes.
Learning about the circuit, but you've got to be doing that at sort of 7/10 of pace to be absolutely sure that you're not going to put it anywhere near a barrier. So that is the car that was tweaked early on, Mattia Colnaghi, so they were able to sort out the damage and get him back out and running, which is quite impressive. So Colnaghi pushed back, the Richard Mille watch backed car. There also returning to the team is James Wharton, the ART Grand Prix entrant. And again, it shouldn't take too long to get the session back live. So we've got 19 drivers that have done a lap time. We know that Lou, Bowling, Darinani and Rodriguez are not going to be able to do because they've been in the wars, but there are still a number of drivers that have not done a lap time because the red flags have scuppered their chances of doing a flying lap.
Just over a minute until we get the session back underway. It's just coming up to 16:15 local time, 4:15 local time, and 16:16. So 1 minute's time is when we get the session back underway.
So Kobayashi, Sato, Colnaghi and Lee are the ones that need a lap. They haven't got anything to their names. In the case of Colnaghi, because he pitted because of damage. In the case of the others, because their laps have always been scuppered by a red flag. So those 4 need to be on the circuit, if nobody else.
And we just saw that the weather does not dampen the spirits of the spectators, eagerly awaiting the resumption of this session. So just about half of the session yet to go. It's all going to run beautifully now for the second half of the session. There'll be no stoppages.
I'm holding you to this.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then we'll have a mighty Macau Road Sports session at the end of this.
Oh. Flag is back out there on the circuit. Well, we've not even completed. We technically still have 18 seconds till we complete halfway through the session. It definitely felt like we've done a field duration because we absolutely have as well. Back out there on the circuit as well, and well, we now find ourselves heading back out there as drivers. Try not to put it in the wall unless they call it off. I think it's guaranteed, Josh, you'll be calling the ending of this session with still 20 minutes on the clock to go. So, yeah, let's hope they do just call it off if no one can find any improvements, because it is getting wetter and wetter, and it's definitely now getting to possibly another red flag very quickly, even on the outlaps for these drivers with how they'll be aquaplaning everywhere.
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? The amount of conditions that they've got that happening wrong out there, and it's just wetter and wetter and wetter. The sun is also going down, so that's going to be a big factor. I reckon we've got about another 10 minutes before they go, nah, it's too much now, we're flagged it.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone doesn't bin it by then, which there is absolutely every possibility of that happening, as Mattia Kolnagi makes his way through already, has found himself in the walls today so far. And as we go off the road then with Alexander Abkazava, so he's gone off the road. And back to Mattia Kolnagi we go, but luckily Abkazava able to continue with that one, so we shouldn't be heading to red.
Yeah, not this time at least, but I don't know. Conditions don't look too good out there, do they? The amount of problems. Oh, and everyone's twitching around as well. It's just, it gets wetter and wetter, and the longer the cars don't go out there as the best hoovers in the world, it's just not going to get any better. And yeah, just locked up, aquaplaned off, looking not to hit the wall actually. And yes, by the way, everyone, we are using the full wet tyres.
Yes, we are indeed using those full wets with these tricky conditions. We've been watching most of this outlap with Kolnagi, also Deligny making his way through. They've been sliding around, trying their best to keep it out of the barrier, and this is right now a really tough ask for these drivers as well at such a tight street circuit, and at a circuit where it's already very tough, and we already see so many stoppages in the dry, let alone what we're seeing right now in the wet. And we are really getting to some driving prowess stuff now from these drivers, the 27 in the field that are participating in this session, and still quite a lot of them to get a lap time on the board. And Kolnagi finally has been able to make his way round, so soon he'll be starting a push lap, and he'll be hoping to start a push lap and improve his position. The driver that currently finds himself all the way right now down in 27th, as he comes out of the final corner, is going to put his foot down, and Kolnagi's about to begin a push lap. Let's see whether we're going to be able to see the whole of it, or is anyone going to find themselves heading all the way to the wall? Let's hope not. Kolnagi begins a lap.
Problem is, Amy, as well, we've still got drivers that 20 down who haven't set a lap time yet, and then drivers, I would argue, apart from the top two, who aren't going to set fast lap times. And also the weather's getting worse and worse, so you're just sort of, you're screwed, basically, because you're not going to beat a 232, 482. The track at the moment is in the 240s. So you're really struggling to get this grip. You're 8 seconds a lap slower, and you're going risking it all for absolutely no reason. We've got tomorrow, where you're going to hopefully have a drier session, which will set the grid for the qualifying race.
Indeed, tomorrow's session is going to be quite a lot of fun. Kolnagi fighting away with the car, having a major snap as he got on the power buddies. 5.2 seconds down in the first sector, but they're still battling for what they can to get themselves up to 20th, 21st. All of those positions they'll be trying to do battle for while trying to keep it out of the wall. And this is really, right now, turning into one of those qualifying sessions in Macau. Sato has also begun a lap. Rintaro Sato making his way through. He's 4.6 seconds down as well in the first sector.
Again, Kolnagi sliding around up towards the hairpin now. They've just got to not lose it. Rear sliding everywhere. That's fine though. Rear sliding's not a problem. If it's hitting the wall, that's it. 15 minutes to go. We've got 5 minutes without a red flag, so that's well done to the drivers in that regard. Maybe we'll get people doing lap times. Still saying that so many people are in the pit lane, but because the pit lane's so weird here, it's still saying that you stopped out the circuit, which is quite funny. And Kolnagi's still pushing hard. Yeah.
Kolnagi is still trying to extract whatever he can out of that MP Motorsport car, taking a wide line, getting it better, exit as well, and every corner where you can extract a 10th compared to someone else is going to be critical. As Deligny just behind also making his way through as well. So that is what's going on there. Improvement in the third sector for Rentaro Sato. So that's a personal best he has set. It seems like he's had a decent third sector. But Kolnagi very much down as he's about to bring it all the way till the end of the lap as we go past the corner where Solov crashed in the main race 1 year ago. And now we're going to see Kolnagi head for that final corner, of course, the final corner, which decided the winner in 2017 as well, in dramatic fashion, where Dan Tickton won that one. Kolnagi over the line, though, in 2024, and he's up to 20th position at the moment.
Yeah, 2:52, 1:35. Track is now pretty much lost as Sato nearly puts it in the barrier. What's his lap time over the board? 2:49, 7:33. Liffey Yi as well, looking up there as well as he comes across the line. So, yeah, I don't know what we're going to have here in this situation. Everyone just kind of launched into that hairpin with breaking downhill, and it's still raining hard, by the way. It's still raining, so it's a weird atmosphere just driving around a town here in Macau.
Sato ahead of Kolnagi, so Sato's lap for 20th was better. We're right now watching Kanato Lee as well, and he's the driver who's in 27th, but trying to keep it together. So let's see whether Kanato Lee can move on to 20th and take it away from the two drivers who just found an improvement of Kolnagi and also Sato as well. Here we go then with Kanato Lee. Can he get to 20th position? That's the battle right now, and he does so. So Kanato Lee goes up to 20th, the driver that participated in FIA Cup earlier this year as well, and he will be hoping to have a good weekend as well. All of them in the field this weekend, but great to have Kanato Lee with us as they all continue to circulate around this racetrack with 12 minutes and 45 seconds now on the clock.
Yeah, the problem is as well, the track's now 14 seconds a lap slower than it was, 15 in some cases as well. So, and it's just, why bother going out there? It's bizarre. You're going to need track data, yes, but you're risking so much more by throwing it in the wall. So
as many have found out.
Yes. Still green at the moment, though, in the first session.
As you can hear, huge aquaplaning going on around this racetrack as well. That is Wharton in the ART as he makes his way through as well. He'll also be racing with ART next year in Formula 3. The driver that did a round as well in Formula 3 earlier this year. We have Sato also making his way through much more further up around the lap. So Sato continuing to push on as well. He'll be hoping to finally get a good lap and maybe go back to 20th position, that 20th position which they're all battling over, and somehow we're staying green at this stage, which is fantastic though to see. At least we are getting somewhat of a battle for 20th as Sato is about to try and go for the line and find the improvement.
2:41 at the exit. He's going to put his foot down to get to the control line, which is just ahead. You can barely see it across the circuit. 2:47, 6:05. That does put him into 20th. That's an improvement. Now the track, well, it's still 15 seconds a lap slower.
It absolutely is as well when it's just turned 25 past now. So that's going to be it for me here in Macau. I'll of course be back to lead duties tomorrow for qualifying 2, where we'll hopefully go green. But Josh, good luck. You've got about 10 minutes with rain coming down at Macau. It's all going to be pretty well. So I'll hand over to you for the rest of this session.
Thank you, mate. We'll see you again tomorrow for the action. So it's getting worse, apparently. The rain is still coming down here at Macau. So it's, I want to say a surprise, but yeah, it's more of a surprise of what's happening. Nakakuma across the line, 2:52.479, goes 18th fastest. That he was already 18th, so no improvement there. His previous time was a 2:42.911. That's 10 seconds off the pace as well, but we are still super slow at the moment. You can see on your trackers now appear in the comms box alongside us what the situation is. 10 minutes to go then here at Macau. Still a lot of sliding around. Trying to have a look everywhere to see at the crowds. They are putting their umbrellas back up. Marshals have put on emergency ponchos as well. Cooper Webster just come back out on the circuit now in the Evans GP car. He's 8th fastest, 2:38.068. He's not going to improve on his time. He's just going to go out there, get a lap under his belt, and then come back into the pit lane. Sato, I think, pretty much doing that same thing as well. He's 21st in a battle with Sota Owaga as well. Matteo Colonnani is right there. Kobayashi's in there too, so they've all still got times to find. Don't forget, 4 red flags already in this Macau qualifying session. I wonder if we'll go for a 5th anytime soon. Sato, 2:14. This might be a bit of a faster lap time actually from him as he comes across the line. World Team Matteo Colonnani now. 2:39 as he exits the last corner up to the line. Is it fastest? Answer 2:45.408. So track is getting quicker. Sato coming across as well. Does he beat that 2:45.408 for the 22nd position? 2:46.889. 21st overall then as well. So we are having slight improvements. Let's check in with the world feed.
Of this, as are now all of the drivers in the top 7. Cooper Webster, we've not really touched on yet. He got up to 8th, and he's gone back out for a look. And Murray Boyer, who is 11th, has gone out for a look as well. But as we keep making the point, they're not going to improve their lap times.
How important was that lap that we talked about of Oliver Goethes right at the start of this session?
Yeah.
Absolutely vital.
Indeed, and the same for Tappanen and Renicello behind, because they were the 3 that got through before the red flag came out. So there, a run up towards eternity, and another big slide as the back
snapped
whacks.
again.
Who was that? 55. So that's the car of Ritaro Sato. Just about survived that.
That could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cars 2 and 4 crossing pit lane exit line is under investigation. That's Valerio Risaletta. And the 4 is Ugo Ukanakwi as well.
Under 7 minutes of this session remain now. And what was that for car number 2? For Renicello. Just had a notification crossing the pit lane exit. Notification for car number 2.
Yeah. So that's Renicello, who is 3rd, but may not survive that, depending on what happens to the outcome of the investigation.
Following this lap for Rentaro Sato. Talking about Takuma Sato this morning, weren't we?
Oops, 19's off the circuit, and that's Kobayashi, Ritu Kobayashi. Now, is that going to cause a red flag with 6 minutes to go? We've been on, it's 1 hour 28 minutes this session has sort of ticked on for, according to our timing models. It's been only 1 hour 5 to do a 40-minute session. So you can see how long the red flags have sort of been dragged out for. No correction, cars 5 and 4 pit lane exit. So it's actually Enzo Delaney alongside Ugo Okanawe as well. Sato over the line again, 2:46.250, stays in 21st position. No sign at the moment of the red flag, which is good news. 5.5 minutes to go, but now off the circuit. Still Kobayashi, can he get it restarted? It's off the circuit, and he's still got drive. He's just trying to do an 1,000,000-point turn. It's an Austin Powers movement now for Kobayashi down the escape road, trying to get it back running as well. Not the best situation to be in.
Car at 90 degrees to the road, and that makes it even more dangerous there, because if anybody else goes straight on, the road is virtually blocked. An escape road is there for safety, and if it's blocked by a car, it ain't safe, is it? And there he is, gets it wrong, coming into the corner, and goes up the escape road rather than try and make the corner and hit the barrier. Then needs to turn it around. This is where it all goes south on him.
Yeah, they've got to decide soon, otherwise it'll be too late to restart the session.
All day today, hasn't it? The escape road at Lisboa. Better that they do that than, unfortunately, hit the barrier down there at Lisboa. But it has been a bit problematic during this session for the FR World Cup.
Murray Boyer, who had gone out for a look, has come back into the pit lane as well. As you see Kanato Lee pressing on also, going up through San Francisco. And 4 minutes remain for Oliver Goethe.
Lee's having a good run as well.
Another one that's been looked at crossing
Red
the
flag!
pit.
Red flag's out again, and that is 3:55 on the clock, 2:40. They've just got enough time, but the red flag withdrawn 3:35 on the clock, and the session will not be resumed. Latest from race control, the session will not be resumed. So that's it. 14 crossing pit lane, exit line will be investigated after the session as well. And the 14 is Theonel Nali as well. So the red flag is out. The session will not be resumed. Ollie Goethe takes the first part of qualifying fastest. 2:32.482. Tuukka Tappinen in second. The red flag then out. Kobayashi off the track. And, well, unfortunately, that's the situation we've been having to contend with as well. The wet weather making it impossible. Inside the last 5 minutes, the session doesn't need to be resumed. Let's check in with the world feed. The red flag's out.
Timing is rather obvious, but that was about timing and when you got a lap in relative to a red flag that you couldn't control at all. And whatever the plan was, you know, we saw Prema after the first stoppage lag back, sent the cars out, and then they couldn't get the lap in because the next red flag came. You can have a great plan and it all goes wrong. So 2 out of 2 today for Oliver Goethe. Perhaps mirroring what Luke Browning did last year. He could be the man to beat this weekend. Oliver Goethe fastest from Tuukka Tappinen and then Valerio Rinicella. Rashid Deheri 4th, Freddie Slater 5th, Mattia De Paolo 6th, ahead of Alex Dunn, Cooper Webster, Dino Beganovic, and 10th, Teofil Neal. Then Mari Boyer from Enzo Deligny and Noah Leon. Uga Chukwu 14th, James Wharton was next from Evangel Ter, Kanato Lee. And a little bit further down, you can see how many drivers crashed or went off on their either out lap or first flying lap, didn't get a lap time in. Kobayashi 23rd, but they'll all be hoping that it is drier tomorrow and they can get some proper mileage in, some proper lap times in for the 2024 Macau Grand Prix, the FIA FR World Cup. Qualifying 2 will be tomorrow.
Well, my thanks to the World Feed team there as well. My thanks to Omi. My thanks to all of you at home. The red flag coming out then at the end of the session. Ollie Goethe puts himself fastest over here at the mighty Macau circuit. Tomorrow, all the action as well. We got the bikes out there. We get the GTs out there for their qualifying session. And more of the same for the FR World Cup. Thanks for your company. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.